Hey everybody, what is up? This is Devin LaVore and
Michelle LaVore
coming at you. Yours truly, Michelle LaVore, coming at you. Anyway, so today we wanted to talk about, we had done the video before about we're entering into the end zone. And I guess really what we kind of want to do is kind of give an update on where we're at with that, because we were talking last night and we really felt like, wow, we really have entered into the end zone. And of course, the end zone, we're thinking, all the manifestation of the promises, right? Well, the Lord has given us some revelation lately regarding what that means to be in the end zone. Of course, it means all those things. Well, at least we hope. A lot of times we put our own thing in there, but it's like, but the truth of the matter is, it's like, sometimes we can be guessing at what we think the Lord could be doing, and we can be right, based on, because we're operating off of knowledge that we know about Him. Well, if I know you have that statement, well, if I know Him, He's going to do this.
Yeah.
Well, if I know her, she's probably going to end up doing this, and then you end up being right because you're so familiar with that person. And I'm like, if I know the Lord, I think, and we'll get to that in a little bit because I got a little more of that. But last night we're basically talking about entering into the rest of God, and how because we've been doing videos about visitation lately, and we did that one video about what is a visitation and how do you prepare for it and all that, and basically it was just God began just really speaking to us a lot about resting.
Yeah.
And I really felt like last night the Lord was saying how, like, He, on the seventh day, He created man on the sixth day, and then on the seventh day, He rested. He didn't create man on the sixth day, and on the seventh day, He rested, but man went to work doing the garden stuff. No, that happened on the eighth day, or the first day of the next new week, right? And I just feel like we're in that seventh day, right? Which is why I was getting the sevens and the 777s and the 707 and all that stuff. And so we feel like that is part of the end zone. That's like the beginning, right? Of the end zone that rest is a sign that we're actually in the end zone. Because it's like God formed us and has been forming us all this time, and now He's resting from the work He's done. Yeah. He's been doing all this work in us, and now He's resting in it because He's like, it is good.
So with really the vision that we had, it was you could call it the Gridiron Vision. It was basically we got a vision from the Lord. Yeah. Really back when we started, kind of deeper into this journey of this picture of just like being on the football field, and many of you have already heard this, but Jesus was leading us. Where it was Devin and I. Devin was in front of me. I'm behind him. We're holding hands.
And I'm holding on to Jesus.
Yeah.
And Jesus is turning back at me going, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me.
So we were just kind of talking about it last night, because that's where we got the idea of like, oh, we're getting ready to go into the end zone. And we were just like, well, have we entered into the end zone? Because that was where it was like, well, we think that, well, is the end zone when we, get all of our things?
Promise. Yeah.
Or what is the end zone? And I really felt like God was just showing us that we have entered the end zone, because He's talked about, for both of us, has made a lot of comparisons about birthing us. He's forming us. He's making us into who He wants us to be. And so basically for the last 2 weeks, approximately, it started, where we just really felt like God was kind of like, not necessarily a birthing process, but very similar to that. And it was like, you had like this week where God was just like speaking to you, and He's just like,
it was awesome.
He's like, yeah, like it's good, like
That was awesome.
Yeah, and that's when he was telling you, like, but I had to form you first.
Right.
And it was in the past tense, like, I had to form you, as
if it's already done.
As if it's actually completed.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, for me, started overlapping, like, right before we came to this hotel we were in, where God was just starting to stir things up in me. And
I think it was actually the last hotel we were in.
Well, it started that last day we were there, and we had to move.
Oh, okay.
Here.
All right.
And it was just like, okay, you know, he was bringing me through things, and the enemy was coming in there a lot. And I don't remember what night it was, because my days and nights
is what it was.
Get all confused.
Gloriously messy.
But it really did. I was just really, really attacked by the enemy, and I mean, it was bad.
But the same old.
Yeah, the same stuff, and you know, it was just like, all right, I got to this point where I was just like, I'm done. Not with done believing, but done just trying to.
It was like an end to self-effort, wasn't it? It was just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not even gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to figure this out anymore. I'm not trying to figure out anything we can do to make the promise come to pass. When all of the self that I put in there that gets in there, I'm just done. I'm done. Yeah. I'm dead to it. I give up.
And even just like,
I mean, would you say that was accurate?
Yeah. But I think also within it was also just this, like, I'm done even trying to be this person that responds well, and
yes.
Like, because
perfect Patty.
Yes.
You killed her.
Yeah.
Put her to death. It's like, I'm trying to be. It's done.
Because so many times, like, I've just struggled with. It's like, you know, I know what I'm supposed to do, or I know the mature way of responding would be this, but I keep not responding in the mature way, and so it's just like, well, I'm never going to get there. I'm never going to be ready, and all this stuff. And of course, I'm like, as I'm saying those things, it's like, well, of course, that's the immature way of responding, isn't it? You know, like, and so
I'm never going to be good enough.
Yeah.
Right? That's really what it boils down to.
And I just got to this place where I'm just like, Lord, I'm done with even that. You know, you render to me your verdict, because I know you're going to be just and you're going to be good. And, you know, it can't be based off of what I am doing, what I'm not doing. Mm-hmm. So here you go, because I'm done. Because the truth is, it's like, usually if it's me, I'm disqualifying myself for everything because I'm not perfect. But then it's like, well, how could God qualify me? And that was something he kept speaking to me. It's like,
oh, the Isaiah 61.
Right? Yeah, which says, like, the Lord has qualified and anointed me. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, well, but what about this? What about that? You know, it's like, I'm putting myself on trial. I don't need to do that. The enemy does that enough. Like, I don't need to be on that defense side. And so it was just like, okay, Lord, whatever you declare over me is what I will take that, because God is, he's just so just and so merciful. And so I just got to that point, and I felt like the Lord, he was just, we have on our computer, like the screensaver, we have a Wonder Woman picture that comes up. Every time it would come up, I just felt like God was like, you have arrived. And I was like, I don't feel like it. Because, you know, it's a picture. She's got her sword, and she's just kneeling down like she's ready, you know. And I was like, well, Lord, I feel the complete opposite of that. I definitely don't feel like, you know, the strong. And he just kept saying that. Like, every time I would see it, which happened probably 3 or 4 times, it was just like, all right, you have arrived. And then I went through just this, I mean, I felt like it was such an intense test.
Well, you know what it was?
And
it really was. I mean, ever since you've been here, you've been going through this cycle of intense battle, and you would make your way through it.
Yeah.
But this one, I'm telling you, everything was like pointing to what God was saying was true, or that we were really hearing from God, because this was like that red zone. Yeah. We have got to stop her right here, or she's gonna get in.
Yeah.
And it's like once you cross into the field, the end zone, there's no more defense.
Yeah.
There is they scored on you. That's just the bottom line. Mm-hmm. And that's why it was so intense for you.
Yeah.
Because it was that red zone. Like we were putting all of our defenders on you, and that's why in our vision, when we get to the red zone, that's when all those huge, big black giants were just coming out of nowhere. To get us, because it was like, wow, they waited until we were too close. It was like, whoa, they are way too close. We got to really get them. And that's what you were experiencing. Yeah. I mean, it was intense. It's like, it's tough enough to get first downs as you're going down the field. But the red zone, they call it the red zone because it's like, man, everybody's like, they are trying to really put all their energy into keeping you from getting in. But if you get in, you get in. Yeah. And you got in.
I did. So. Because, and it's like I didn't, you can cross the end zone in a football game and it's like, oh, they barely eked in. But they eked in. They're in,
Like they say in UFC, a W's a W.
Yeah. It's like, man, I really wanted to come through that line with being like, block.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Angel wings on my ankles, flying me in there with a little Heisman trophy, a trophy-worthy pose. Yeah. Like, no, that didn't happen.
No, but
it was utterly messy.
It was so messy, and it was so funny because I think it was the next day we were talking, and you were just like, it's like birth. Birth is messy. Yeah. But look what comes out of it. Something just absolutely hit you, beautiful. Didn't it? It really did. Yeah. And it was just like, wow, that's really what I went through. And so then it's been really just after that, like just a peace, and that's been something even yesterday. It's been the last couple days have just been days of rest. And even
yesterday, the enemy tried to really hit that hardcore.
Because it's like as you're resting, it's your mind can start being like, but we need to be doing something. Come on, like let's try and and you're fighting against your flesh because maybe your flesh is like, I want to do something. I want to like see movement, and so then when we were talking last night, I think what really hit me was just the idea of what you mentioned before of how God, He rested. And it was like, whoa. Like God just gave birth, in a sense, to us, to what He's producing in us. Well, and He's like resting. And we were talking about how like, and a lot of times with food, especially like meats and things, like you cook them and then they have to rest. And that's really what just marinates
bakery,
them.
Like cakes and stuff.
Yeah, it's like it has to rest.
You can't just pull it out of the oven and slice it.
Yeah, before the next thing can happen. And it's like, all right, Lord, will you just have us resting? And I think that really helped me out of just like, okay, it is okay. Like God has us in a place of resting, and once again, it's trusting that He knows what He's doing, and every step is ordered. I just remembered what we had talked about. Boom.
Go.
So.
She's been trying to figure this out all day. And it's just like, what time is it? It's like 5 o'clock.
And it was
and now she's like, I told you. I was like, just get into the video, girl, and it'll just come to you. See, I'm a prophet.
So we were talking.
Or I just have a lot of experience at this.
Yeah, but we were talking about the resting and how difficult that can be. And I was like, I feel like, it's like being in a horse race. And it's
I'm with you.
They say go, all the horses start running, but your jockey is like, if you are the horse and the jockey is on you and he's saying, I just want you to walk. And you're like, but all the other horses are running. Like, come on, let's go.
This is a race, brother.
This is a race.
We're supposed to be racing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this kind of came out of, we were talking about, you know, I was just like, man, like, I feel like I'm missing out because there's so many people who, it's like, I'm looking, I'm like, wow, God's like moving in their life, and, you know, and you're just looking around, and it's like, it seems like everybody else is in this race, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, what is going on? And
and you dropped some big names.
Yeah.
Some big famous names that have been in ministry for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, babe. You're talking like Mario Andretti in the spirit. I mean, they've been racing for a long time.
Well, and I think it goes back to, though, it's that sense of, man, we have been in the wilderness our whole life. Mm-hmm. Like, why?
LONNIE, referencing the Lonnie MACKLEY word that he gave that we referenced in our video. I will try to remember to reference it again. Yeah. If I don't, I'm sure someone out there will be like, you didn't reference it, bro. Yeah.
But it's just like the sense of like, man, everybody else is running their races. They're doing awesome. It seems like, man, the momentum is just going. And I'm like, and I'm sitting here and it's like, whoa,
and
whoa,
the Lord's just riding you, letting you trot maybe a couple times. Yeah. But he's like, you're just going to walk this out. Like, what? Yeah. Like, oh.
But so we were just talking about that and just the importance, though. And what you said last night was just like, when you're walking and doing it, you got to realize that's not your race. God has you on something different. He's got a different time frame for you. And
you thought it was your race, but it's actually your training ground.
Exactly.
It's like, this actually is not your race. Even though it is a race, even though there is people racing around you, you're on a racetrack. This was not your race.
No,
this was your training ground, because God wants you to. He wants to know if He can put you in the fast-paced, look at everyone else going, and you not be like, you know, hiccuping in your soul, like, oh, I want to go, I need to get going, or I need to do this, or I need to do that.
Which
That's part of the training, to get that out of you.
Yeah, that soulish effort of like, let's jump on this, let's jump on that, when God is saying no. Like, I need you to just walk. And so you've got it, you're seeing, you know, we are seeing like movement in the spirit, and we're seeing God do amazing things in other people's lives. Yeah. You know, and it's not that God isn't doing great things for us.
Well, He's taking care of us. But that's amazing enough.
But it's like, you see like, oh, but this is, you know, and so, and once again, it comes back to not looking to the left or to the right, but focusing on what God has in front of you.
Oh, remind me to reference that video too.
And just the importance of it. And so last night, it really did feel very much like God's like, I want to take you even to a deeper level of rest in me, a deeper security in what I am doing, what I am speaking to you. And you have to just settle with me in that place. Yeah. And to just, again, like we had a few, I guess it's probably a couple weeks ago, when we were at the last Airbnb, where it was just like, God's just like, I just want to cradle you. I want you to be secure in who I am.
Oh yeah, well, we were going to do a video that day, and then the Lord was like, no, let's not do a video, let's just hang out together. And like Isaiah, when he just sleeps on me, I'm like, this is the best ever. Yeah. You know? Because he's to that place where he wants to just get up and move around all the time. Yeah. And I can't hang out with him like I have been the past 9 months. He's just like, but he still likes to sleep on us. And I'm just like, oh, this is the best. Yes. I think that's what the Lord was doing that day. He was like, oh, this is the best. Yeah. Because so much of our soul, we want to get out and do something. You know, we want to do something for the Lord, but a lot of times we want to do something for ourselves, or we want to entertain ourselves, or we want to feel significant, therefore we want to do something for the Lord and all that. But God Himself is just going, well, why don't you just follow me and hang out with me and do what I do? Yeah. And He realized, oh yeah, that's it. That is the way Jesus did it. Yeah. Yeah. And so it was just this really, just the sense of just
just do only what God is saying to do.
Yeah.
You know, and you really
That's your training ground right there.
The struggle is real in that, you know, your soul, your mind, even the enemy can come against you and say, that can't be right. Lord, your scripture says we need to be serving you. But the truth is, it's, once again, it was like Mary and Martha. Mm-hmm. And was what Martha did, was it wrong? No. I mean, but it wasn't needed at that time. It
wasn't the best choice.
It wasn't the best choice. And it's like, God is like, I want, right now, there's just this time and moment of come and just sit at my feet. Like, just come and be with me. That's all I really desire. That's all I want. So we got the baby.
Yeah, he woke up.
But, are you going to start talking to you?
Yeah, he probably is.
But, so basically just that, you know, we have a lot of things that we want to do. And I think God is just, he really is taking this time for so many of us to train us that it isn't about doing. It isn't about anything other than doing what he is asking us to do. And it can sound contrary to what maybe you've grown up doing with the Lord, or you know, just life in general. So that's all I had to really share.
Yeah, well, and I feel like that's good because it applies to what we're coming out of. Mm-hmm. It applies to like what God's been doing.
Yeah.
It applies to what he had to do to form us.
Yeah.
It's like it's speaking more of like a prophetic past and what you're coming out of.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where we're at. That's why what makes the seventh day so important, because look at all the work that God's done. Here, let me explain to you what I've been doing. And on this seventh day, during this end zone period that you're in, he's just wanting to rest with us and celebrate, honestly, all that has been done. That's why there's been such a spirit of worship on us. Man, for days now, right? And then this is what I meant in the beginning of the video by, man, if I know the Lord, I bet I'm going to start seeing some 8s here pretty soon. Yeah. I just knew it. I was just like, I would not be surprised if I did, you know, because we're seeing the triple numbers. It's like there's a visitation coming.
Yeah.
There's a, you know, and then the 7s were like the last triple 7s were the last triple numbers I saw. And I was like, okay. So when I got the 7s, and then God started doing this thing about the rest of God and all that, I knew, I was like, okay, this makes sense. He's like using the numbers once again to say, hey man, this is what I'm doing. So today I was thinking, or yesterday I was thinking, I would not be surprised if we started seeing some 8s. If I started just seeing some 8s. And sure enough, yesterday I started seeing a first number that really jumped out at me was a 888, and then I saw an 88, and then today I saw a 888, and then another 88, and then I saw an 88 just like 10 minutes ago. You know, in between these edits, you know, I was like, what in the world? I was like, you know, because when you're in the end zone, it doesn't last but like a brief second. You know, literally the Sabbath is a day.
Yeah. God
worked for 5 days. I mean, technically he worked on the 6th day also, but he worked 5 days before creating man. Mm-hmm. On the 6th day, he created man and more animals, but it was like, that was what he did. On the 6th day, he formed man. Mm-hmm. And then on the 7th day, he rested. So then what happens on the 8th day, or the first day of the next week? That's where he sets Adam in. And I'm thinking like, Lord, I am not trying to figure things out, because that's a whole nother video. God doesn't want you to figure things out. You know, I'm not trying to do any of these things that are manipulative, not even like passive manipulative or aggressively manipulative. None of that. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just saying, I think I know you pretty well. And I think that you're going to start showing some 8s, because that's going to represent like, okay, the vision is getting ready to come to pass. The promise is getting ready to start happening, and you're starting to see some stuff, right? And so also yesterday morning, I was talking to the kids about something I felt like I had deeply lost as a kid. And I was like, man, if I had this as a child, honestly, I was telling them about Michelle. I was like, if I had Michelle as a mom, I would be somebody right now. And I was like, heck, if I had me as a dad, I would be somebody right now. I would be like so like ahead of life, right? Ahead of the game. I would be probably who I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, and I was almost in tears thinking about like what I could have become if I had us as parents, you know? And I was grieved over it, but right away the Lord, he said, I will restore what the cankerworm has taken. And I'm just like, I know what that comes from. That comes from Joel. And so I went to Joel chapter 2. I was like, babe, we got to read Joel chapter 2. And I knew it wasn't just for me. I was like, we got to read that as a family, right?
Yeah.
And so what did we read? We read Joel.
Well, we basically read from like Joel, I think it was verse like 14 or 15. I started all the way through to the end of chapter 2.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow, Lord, yes.
Like so much of it was highlighted, but the 25 talks about where he will restore that which was taken. And and it really hit on that LONNIE MACKLEY thing again. It was like, hey, he said, like, God's like, this is what I said. I'm going to start restoring things. Yeah. I'm going to start moving again. You know, you feel like you've been in this position your whole life. Well, that's because you have. Yeah. Well, I'm going to restore that. And I'm just like, wow. Okay, cool. I was like, man, Lord, I really feel like this is really what you're doing. You're like speaking to me today about restoration. And of course, the enemy came in right away and started hitting both of us with a busyness, anxiety, like, spirit kind of thing.
Tell. It was like, oh, nope, we gotta stop that.
And we were like, I'm not doing anything. Because it was just the spirit of like, we got to do this and we got to do that. And it's like, nope, I'm not doing anything. Okay? Yeah. No, and not until the Lord moves. When the Lord moves, then I'll do it. And then what was it? Last night.
So after we had been talking and all this stuff, and we're just like, wow, this is awesome. And then we got on, I think, your Facebook, and it popped up that LaVore put out a word. It had been up for like 5 minutes.
5 minutes. It had been up for 5 minutes.
And I was like, ooh, yay, you know. You always like it when there's words, especially if they're good. And so
because God has clearly placed LaVore's ministry in our lives. Yeah. And every time she speaks, it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yeah. But last night took the cake. Yeah. I mean, it took the cake.
Yeah.
And ate it too.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, well, we just kind of, scrolled down it to see how long the word was. And like the first thing we noticed is that the very bottom verse is Joel 2.
Verse 23.
Verse 23.
And I was like, no, she did not.
We just read that
like,
this morning.
Serious? Like, and then she started talking about vindication. And she used the very scripture, Isaiah 35:4. Yeah. That's the very verse that God gave me back when we were in big
January.
Airbnb in Franklin, Tennessee. Yeah. He said, he was like, I am going to vindicate you. I am about to vindicate you. And I used that Isaiah 35:4. And then there's this one girl, she hasn't made a video since, but she came up with a video quoting Isaiah 35, talking about God's going to vindicate you.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, some YWAM girl from Hawaii. And I was like, that's amazing. And then I did that video. Man, that video's got like a ton of views. It's got it's like one of my most popular videos. And I, naturally as time goes on, I'm like, Lord, there was supposed to be a vindication. Yeah. I ordered a vindication. What's going on in the kitchen of heaven? I don't really care if it's well done. I'll take it medium rare. Yeah. Heck, I'll take it rare at this point. But it's like she started listing all these things. I'm like, oh my gosh, God gave me a word about that. And God gave me a word about that, about repayment. I think I did the repayment video man, like, I don't know when. It couldn't have been a year ago, but it was probably like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 months ago.
Yeah. And
I'd given up on that one. I was like, I don't know, maybe I was hearing wrong or something. I don't know. But it was like, and she talked about the fierce repayment of the Lord. Yeah. And I was like, wow. And it was like the whole thing was just like a litany of like, oh my goodness. Like all of these things the Lord has given us. And then she ends it with Joel 2:23, which we had just done that day, which was yesterday. And I was like, wow. Because it had been on me all day. Yeah. Just the restoration of the Lord is going to come. And now, and I was like, okay, we're in this we're in the end zone. And I know the end zone, I don't know how long the end zone is going to last. But it's like, I know after that comes placing Adam, us, in the garden, in the promise of his delight, of what he's wanting to do, what he's delighting to do. That's what comes next. I know it. It's not. I'm just saying it's not me trying to. Oh, I'm getting excited. This is what's going to happen. Yay! And then it doesn't happen. No, that is what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I think it's like for me there is definitely amazing. Like an excitement because. Yeah. I do. It's just like, here's a vision that God gave us like well over a year ago about the gridiron and best getting moments. Into the end zone. And I believe we've seen the completion of that vision. Score! With God just declaring like, hey, like, yes, I have formed you. You have arrived. Like, this is all this work that I've been doing and sowing into you. It's really exciting, like, to see, like, a fulfillment of, like, a vision that God had given us so long ago. And
I'm ready for the reversing.
Really, it is. I'm so ready for just, I'm excited for, like we said, we don't know the timing of things or anything like that. But I just believe, like, God has given us visions this whole journey. And especially at the beginning, it was like, oh, this is going to come to pass, like, boom, boom, boom. And, but I am excited because last year, really, the month of May was a very important time. And so I'm just like, all right, Lord, what are you going to do this month? Like, and that was the thing too, in the Lana Vosser word, she's like, he is ready to start giving, and I think that's where you were talking about, like, the rewards, like, you feel in your heart, like, that, like, after...
I hope you guys can hear this.
Like, after the end zone, that there are rewards.
Right, because the Lord gave me this word last night, and he said reward ceremony. That's all. Sometimes that's what you get from God, or that's what I get from God, just reward ceremony. And I'm like, I was like, that does happen. Yeah. After you're done with the football season, not necessarily after a football game, but when you're done with the Super Bowl, you're done. There's like an award ceremony, which goes into the graduation vision that we also got, and it's just like, I was like, wow, what does that mean? I don't really know what that's going to look like, but I'm ready to attend.
I'm going to go.
A rewards ceremony. I was like, wow, okay, cool. And so that's what I just think that there's a lot of really cool things going on right now as far as, like, God promising restoration and repayment. And there's a new beginning we're getting ready to step into. And that's what it was. That's what I was going to say before he started going crazy and we had to do a little editing. But I really felt like the Lord was saying, I'm resting. Yeah. But I'm inviting you into that rest with me. I'm resting from the work that I've done in you. Will you come and rest with me? Buddy. Also, like back before we moved here, the Lord was like, I'm birthing this thing. I want to invite you to hold my hand. Yeah. And to be my, to kind of be there with me. Kind of like when Jesus went to pray in the Garden of Gethsemane, it was like, I'm going to pray. I'm the only one that can do this. But man, it would be cool if you three could come and pray with me. Yeah. And he was like, man, can't you guys pray for just a little while longer? It's like, that's okay. The spirit's willing, but the flesh is weak. Yeah. So it's like, it's the same thing, It's like God's doing the resting, and he's just inviting us into that rest, And so we've thrown a lot of stuff at you today.
Yeah, a ton. It's kind of, just a ton.
Give a thumbs up if you made it this far. But we just wanted to bless you guys with the smorgasbord of stuff that we've been going through and that we've been receiving from the Lord. And it's just been really awesome and encouraging. And we hope you are stuffed with the encouragement and revelation and insight as to what God is doing. And we just pray that this video resonates with you and maybe what God's doing in your life, and God can use it to just confirm things that He's doing in you.
Bring encouragement.
Yeah. Because man, there is an 8th day coming. I really felt like the Lord said that. He was like, "There's an 8th day coming. This rest is 1 day." I've been working for a long time, but this rest end zone thing, it's short.
Yeah.
It's like a 1 day equivalent type thing in comparison to all the work He's been doing. If the beginning of 2017 up until now in 2018 is the equivalent of 5 days of creation, this end zone thing, this day of rest thing is just 1 day of all of that. And it's like, I don't know how long that is. We've learned through the process,
don't go there.
Don't do the timing thing. But it is okay to look at the weather and the signs of the times and go, "Ooh, man, I think this is what's getting ready to happen." Because that's what I did. I was like, I bet we're going to start seeing some 8s because God's going to confirm that I'm getting ready to get you into the new work, into the new life. It's not even about work. I'm getting ready to put you into the new life that I have for you. I'm getting ready to fulfill some promises and some things that's getting ready to happen. You're getting ready to hold the promise in your hands. It's getting ready to be born, you know? And then it's like what Lana Vassar was saying yesterday in her words. She was like saying, you've been experiencing some of it, a little bit of it, but now it's about to be fierce recompense, fierce, intense. And it reminded me of that vision I had of Jesus in the desert with his hands, both of his hands in the air. He looked angry, and he was just like, and then all this, downpour, a deluge of rain just came down so thick that his face was blurry.
Yeah.
And he was like, "This is my recompense.
Yeah.
This is my vengeance right here." And even in that Joel, it talks about the early and the latter rains and all that stuff. Yeah. Obviously, we can keep going because this video is super extra mega long right now. But it's like, well, whatever. You're Devin and Michelle. What do you expect?
But
so anyway, hope you guys were blessed by it. And thank you guys so much for your continued support.
Yeah, we so appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like, really beyond words. It's just like, wow, Lord.
Words are so feeble.
Continue to sustain us.
Just
and
to say,
you're amazing.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. It's just like, that was lame.
Yeah.
That's how you feel. But it really is not. It's like, we really do thank you guys. You guys are awesome. And we are all a part of something that God is doing.
Yes.
That, if you're giving to us, it's as important as us receiving from what you're giving.
Yeah.
Because it's going into the greater, bigger picture of what God is doing.
Yeah.
And so we bless you guys.
Yes.
And we thank you guys for being with us on this journey. And it's just going to keep going from here, man. Mm-hmm. We really feel like we're getting ready to step into that 8th day.
Yeah.
And that's going to be just, oh my gosh. God is going to get some major glory out of this. Mm-hmm. Major. So, all right.
Until next time, guys. We will see you later.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.